Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon. The Bold and the Beautiful prepares for high-stakes drama with Will Spencer's return. Bill Spencer's world on The Bold and the Beautiful is about to be shaken up by the return of Will Spencer, portrayed by Crew Morrow. Known for its dramatic twists, this beloved soap has set the stage for some explosive scenes. Morrow made his debut as Will Spencer on August 1, 2024, taking over from Finnegan George for Soap Opera News Morrow. Much to the intrigue of fans. Although it's early, he exhibits charm and confidence that leaves a lasting impression. The return of Will Spencer stirs significant tension and drama between characters, most notably with his father Bill. In his debut scene, Will walked in on Bill with his new lady, creating an incredibly awkward moment. This initial encounter hints at more complex emotions to come. The Bold and the Beautiful is delving deep into the emotional conflict involving Will, derived from the thematic similarities of Buckley's Chance, a tale focused on a young boy navigating a strained relationship with his father after moving to a remote location. Bill's reaction to Will's return will undoubtedly be mixed. Emotions run high as Bill grapples with Will's unexpected return. He struggles to convey his feelings to Katie, hoping she understands how lost he is without her. The show promises heartfelt scenes filled with angst as these characters navigate their troubled past. The sun cast a warm glow over the iconic Forrester Creations building, its gleaming facade a testament to the legacy of power, passion, and betrayal that lay within. The Bold and the Beautiful, a world where love triangles and corporate rivalries collide, was about to be shaken to its core. A new storm was brewing, heralded by the return of a young man whose lineage promised nothing but high-stakes drama, Will Spencer. Will, the son of media tycoon Bill Spencer and the resilient Katie Logan, had grown up in the shadow of his father's towering influence and his mother's unyielding strength. His departure years ago had left a void in the Spencer family, but his return was set to be anything but a quiet homecoming. Now a young man with a formidable presence, Will had inherited the best and worst of both his parents. The streets of Los Angeles were about to become a battlefield as he stepped back into the fray, ready to carve out his destiny. The Forrester family, with their own share of secrets and scandals, were the first to feel the ripple effects of Will's return. Ridge Forrester, the patriarch and creative genius behind the fashion empire, had always seen Bill Spencer as a thorn in his side. The rivalry between the Spencers and the Forresters was legendary, a simmering feud that had sparked countless confrontations. But Will was an unknown quantity, a wild card whose intentions were shrouded in mystery. Brooke Logan, Ridge's wife and Katie's sister, found herself caught in the middle. Her love for Ridge was unwavering, but her protective instincts towards her nephew Will were strong. Brooke had watched Will grow from a bright-eyed boy into a determined young man, and she couldn't help but worry about the collision course he seemed to be on. She knew that his return would dredge up old wounds and ignite new conflicts. As Will strode into Forrester Creations for the first time, the atmosphere was electric with tension. His presence was commanding, a blend of Bill's charisma and Katie's quiet determination. He was here on a mission, but what that mission entailed was anyone's guess. The employees whispered amongst themselves, speculating on his motives and the potential fallout. Eric Forrester, the family's wise and venerable elder, welcomed Will with a blend of caution and curiosity. Eric had seen many young men come and go, each with their own ambitions and agendas, but there was something different about Will, a sense of purpose that went beyond the usual machinations of power and wealth. Eric hoped that Will's return would not reignite the old feud that had once threatened to tear their families apart. Meanwhile, at Spencer Publications, Bill Spencer was preparing for a different kind of reunion. The prodigal son was back, and Bill's emotions were a tumultuous mix of pride and apprehension. He had always dreamed of Will taking up the mantle of Spencer Publications, but he also knew that his son was not a carbon copy of himself. Will had a mind of his own, and Bill was uncertain about where his loyalties lay. Katie, ever the peacemaker, hoped that Will's return would bridge the gap between father and son. She had fought hard to raise Will with a sense of integrity and compassion, traits that often clashed with Bill's ruthless business tactics. Katie knew that Will was walking a fine line, and she feared the choices he would have to make. The plot thickened as Will began to maneuver through the intricate web of relationships and rivalries that define the bold and the beautiful. He reconnected with old friends and forged new alliances, each step carefully calculated. His charm and intelligence won him many admirers, but it also garnered suspicion. The Forrester clan, ever vigilant, kept a watchful eye on the young Spencer, wary of the upheaval he might bring. Steffi Forrester, the fierce and ambitious CEO of Forrester Creations, found herself unexpectedly drawn to Will. Their encounters were charged with a chemistry that neither could deny, but both were acutely aware of the complications that such an entanglement would bring. Steffi had her own share of battles to fight, and the last thing she needed was another Spencer complicating her life. Yet there was something about Will that intrigued her, a depth that hinted at untold stories. The tension reached a boiling point when Will unveiled his plans for a groundbreaking media venture, one that threatened to overshadow both Forrester Creations and Spencer Publications. It was a bold move, one that showcased his ambition and vision, but it also painted a target on his back, as both his father and the Forresters scrambled to decipher his endgame. In the midst of the corporate intrigue, personal dramas unfolded. Will's return stirred up unresolved feelings and buried secrets. Relationships were tested, alliances shifted, and the lines between love and loyalty blurred. The stage was set for a showdown that would leave no one unscathed. The sun rose over Los Angeles, casting a golden hue across the sprawling Forrester mansion. The tranquility of the morning was deceptive, a mere illusion masking the brewing storm. For months, the Forrester, Logan, and Spencer families had been caught in a whirlwind of secrets, betrayals, and heartaches. Just when it seemed the dust might finally settle, the return of Will Spencer threatened to upend their fragile peace. Will Spencer, now a young man in his early 20s, had been away from the chaos of his family's legacy, studying abroad and carving out his own identity. The prodigal son had always been caught in the crossfire of his parents' tumultuous relationship. His mother, Katie Logan, had fought fiercely to protect him from the ruthless world of business and deceit that his father, Bill Spencer, thrived in. But Will had grown up, and the time had come for him to step into the spotlight. As Will stepped off the plane, the familiar sights and sounds of Los Angeles greeted him. The city had changed, and so had he. Determined and confident, Will was no longer the vulnerable child his family remembered. His return was not just a visit, it was a declaration. He was ready to take his place in the Spencer dynasty, to prove himself to his father, and to protect his mother from the shadows of the past. Meanwhile, at Spencer Publications, Bill Spencer was in his office, staring out at the cityscape. His mind was a whirlwind of thoughts, primarily focused on his youngest son's return. Bill had always seen potential in Will, a potential he feared might be wasted if Will stayed away from the family business. The door to his office creaked open, and in walked Katie, her presence as commanding as ever. "Bill, we need to talk about Will," Katie said, her voice laced with concern. Bill turned to face her, his expression unreadable. "What about him? He's coming home, Katie. It's about time." Katie sighed, her eyes reflecting a mix of worry and determination. "I'm worried, Bill. Will's been away for so long. He's changed. We can't just throw him into the deep end of our world and expect him to swim." Bill walked over to his desk, picking up a framed photo of Will. "He's a Spencer, Katie. He'll adapt. Besides, he needs to learn how to navigate this world if he's ever going to take over." Katie's heart ached at the thought of her son being drawn into the ruthless business tactics that had caused her so much pain. "Just promise me you'll give him a chance to find his own way, Bill. He deserves that." Bill nodded, albeit reluctantly. "Fine, but he needs to prove himself, Katie, to me, to you, and to everyone who doubts him." Across town, at Forrester Creations, the atmosphere was buzzing with anticipation. Steffi Forrester, the reigning queen of the fashion empire, was in a meeting with her brother, Thomas, and their father, Ridge. The topic of discussion: Will Spencer's return and its implications for their family business. "Do you think Will is a threat?" Thomas asked, his brow furrowed. Steffi shook her head, a determined glint in her eye. "Not a threat, but definitely a wild card. We need to be prepared for anything." Ridge leaned back in his chair, his mind racing. "Bill's going to use Will to his advantage. We need to be one step ahead." As the meeting continued, the tension in the room was palpable. The Forresters had always had a complicated relationship with the Spencers, and Will's return only added another layer of complexity. Later that evening, Will arrived at his mother's house, the place he had always called home. The reunion was emotional, filled with hugs, tears, and laughter. But beneath the surface, there was an unspoken understanding that life, as they knew it, was about to change.